Hi, everybody. So I wanted to make a part 2 to my last video that I titled Individuals versus Idealogues. I don't know if I'll keep that title. I think it pretty pretty well encapsulates the thesis of that rant. But I wanted to speak to what makes an individual unique, special, uh, individual. And I can articulate it in so many words. And it's an interesting concept. The concept is as follows. It's one that's almost impossible to argue from an Aristotelian vocabulary as opposed to a uh, uh, less Platonic, more romantic, uh, more conceptual language. We live in a very um, reductionist, Western, mechanistic lexicon in English. In any case, the argument goes as follows: space, that is to say, to make space, to get rid of things, to hold space, nothingness, the absence of things is inherently more valuable than even the best thing that we can think of to have in that moment. So, what do I mean? I mean, the examples that came to mind when I was having this discussion recently were wrestling. Why is wrestling such a valuable pursuit for young people to become strong and capable? Anybody that does the sport of wrestling knows what I'm talking about. Gymnastics. There are very few implements in gymnastics, and those implements are very bare bones as it is. For what reason is gymnastics an unbelievable, you might say, unmatched pursuit for the development of human athleticism? It's the same reason why gardening, when one tills the earth and makes space, uh, new life is able to erupt and propagate from the earth. So it's this idea that, and again, Western worldviews, mentalities have a hard time conceptualizing this. When we get rid of things, we allow, that is to say, when we make space, we allow for the best possible thing to manifest, to make its way into that space. There was a great show that became viral on TV recently called Tidying Up with Marie Kondo, a delightful young Japanese lady who uh, taught the world how to clean up their homes. Very charming show, very good message. In any case, it was another example of this. So we might talk about the wrestling example. When you enter into a wrestling match or any martial arts space for that matter, you bow. Anybody that participates in martial arts knows this. It's a sign of respect for the space, for just the absence of things. You wash the mats or wipe down the mats. There's a very strict hierarchy of respect for those that have given more of themselves in terms of their time and dedication and discipline. But this hierarchy is not based on tyranny or power. It's based on the respect for that space that is really a magical space that allows the transformation of the fool into the king, from the bumbling white belt or the JV wrestling uh, participant into, the high level Division 1 All-American, into the black belt. And so this is a testament to the idea, the concept that, and again, in the Western world, we have a hard time speaking to this because we're very materialistic. We're very consumer minded, right? We want things. We want to have signs of status, signs of wealth. We're very focused on matter. Well, Einstein taught us matter and energy are the same thing, right? Uh, Multiplied by a function of the speed of light squared. So what does that mean? Well, it means when there's no thing, there is still the manifested, the manifested capability to make things, right? So I guess the linchpin of this idea that I think is so beautiful, but I have a hard time articulating, is once we accept that there's a greater circulation, that we are a part of some superorganism, all the people on the earth, or that there is a greater circulation of matter and energy of which we are just a small constituent element, then we could submit to the idea that if we limit the drag that we're producing in the system, if we get rid of things, if we live more aesthetic, not to the point of, uh, living out in the woods or something like by Walden Pond, but in the sense of, the Japanese architectural style, or like a Tesla, or, just tidying up around the house, or, taking care of your space, cleaning up your room, or wiping the mats down in a workout space, in the sense that you're allowing energy to flow into that space. I would contend that because of this almost mystical reality of the circulation of matter and energy in the universe, that space that you've created and defend and hold will create what it is that you need in your life. And albeit I can speak to this and I believe it to be true as a function of the experiences I've had in my life, it's still something that's hard to understand, because I'd argue in the very same way somebody would argue about the concept of God in defense of it. This thing that I'm speaking to only exists as a function of the participation of all its constituent elements. It's the idea of emergent principles, properties, right? So, you've got the prokaryotic cell, then the eukaryotic cell. You might even start with chemistry and then move to biology, and then move to like a colony, of single-celled organisms, and then a a tissue, then an organ, then an organ system, then an organism, then an organization, so on and so forth. So at every level, the interaction between agents produces a higher order intelligence. And it would be a I was going to say folly, but it would certainly be a difficult question to suppose whether you believe a single cell, like in your skin, is aware of you as a human. But that's the same kind of question to ask if each of us individual humans are aware of what we become as a function of our participation in the activities of all humans, right? So this whole kind of speech about space and the virtue of space and the importance and mystical relevance of holding space and how it allows energy to flow and manifest into matter, et cetera, is by way of defending the original video, and that is individuals hold space. Idealogues march to the beat of the space they're told to occupy. So I think it's a very different conceptual framework to be willing to be the fool that, marches into the dark cave to contend with what lurks there, and to be wizened and tried in the trials of combat with the dragon, versus signing on with a group that already has all the answers and being a zealot, for some charlatan, right? I would contend that there are no answers, there are only better questions. And obviously this is more a philosophical, spiritual line of reasoning and argumentation. This is not to speak to things like engineering. I have a great deal of respect for rocket science, I would never mean to speak on something that I haven't educated myself on. What I'm speaking to is mental health, physical health, and the ability to come to a synchronicity, a melding of one's psychology, physiology, and interpersonal and intrapsychic relationship, like just how to bring it all together. I've said over and over that the main thrust of my YouTube channel is mental health for young men. That remains to, be my main focus. And so these kind of like little lectures, if you will, or just little kind of lines of thinking are along the path of me, in a certain sense, speaking to myself in my 20s, somebody that was very self-destructive, very self-righteous, very angry and cynical and nihilistic, and at other times vain and narcissistic. And I do think that this concept of space and awareness of this kind of greater circulation is part and parcel in the journey that I came to participate in, that kind of resulted in a newfound personhood, in stark contrast to a co-opting into some sort of organization, political or religious or otherwise, where I kind of, I would have given up my unique perspective. I think it's folly to ever sign on the dotted line to think a certain way. I think the greatest value that we have as people is our unique way of looking at the world and thinking about the world, to the degree to which we can share it constructively, and come up with new ideas. They've said you can't stop an idea. Every great new invention, new way of organizing society started as an idea. And so we need to encourage young people to continue to play in the space of ideas. And this is exactly the opposite message of kind of the alt left and right politically in the United States right now in 2023. And that is one of identitarian politics and groupthink and hive mind mentalities that very firmly dissuades critical and original thought. And this whole diatribe has been in defense of both critical and original thought. And I think that those things fruit and flower in the dark, in kind of swimming in the abyss of one's own creative space. And that might be the best way I could put it. Thank you so very much for listening. This is Laurinia, my little sweet daughter. She'll say hi. Say hi, sweetie. Say, what else do you want to say? Say oi. And there you can see the tired doggy in the background. That's Sage right there. I say a tired Sage is a hashtag success, because if anybody else has a border collie, it's damn near impossible to tire them out. So got that done. So good deal. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate your time. Just tried to articulate this idea that I've been, working on for a while. Hopefully I did an okay job. We'll continue to bring more content to my viewers, and hopefully we can have a conversation soon. If you are interested in having a conversation on stream or on record, please let me know in the comments, and we'll do it. Love you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye.